Japan is a place that mixes the old and the new in the most unique ways. From the busy streets of Tokyo to the tranquil temples in Kyoto, there's a lot to love about Japan. But if you're planning a trip, especially if you're in your 30 seconds or older, understanding a few key cultural differences can make your visit much smoother. Japan is known for its politeness, precision, and strong traditions, and these qualities are reflected in its social norms. Now, Japan is one of those countries where following the local etiquette isn't just nice, it's expected. That's because the Japanese place a lot of importance on maintaining harmony and respect for others. It's not about being rigid or uptight. It's about showing consideration for the people around you. So, if you find yourself planning a trip to Japan, there are certain things you absolutely shouldn't do. Things that could unintentionally offend someone or cause an awkward situation. In this video, we're going to dive into 7 things you definitely shouldn't do in Japan. These aren't just random rules, but cultural practices that can make your experience in Japan much more enjoyable and respectful. It's not about being perfect, but about being mindful of the small details that can make a big difference. By understanding these practices, you'll feel more comfortable, avoid misunderstandings, and build a positive rapport with the people you meet. So, whether you're heading there for a short visit or planning a longer stay, these tips will help you navigate the cultural landscape with ease and confidence. Let's get into it. Here's what you need to know before you go. Number 1. Don't tip anyone. Alright, let's kick things off with a cultural practice that often trips up visitors to Japan: tipping. If you come from a country where tipping is the norm, this one might seem strange, but trust me, it's important to get this right. In Japan, tipping is simply not a thing. It's not just uncommon, it's actually considered rude. The Japanese believe that offering a tip implies the person isn't doing their job well enough to earn a decent wage. The idea is that good service is already built into the job and should be expected. It's a cultural value where the focus is on providing excellent service as a part of the job, not for the sake of earning extra money from customers. For example, you might be tempted to leave a tip at a restaurant after a fantastic meal. Don't. The server might be confused or uncomfortable with your gesture. Instead, they'll appreciate a genuine thank you in Japanese, arigatou gozaimasu. And that's it. A polite acknowledgement is enough to show your gratitude. The same goes for taxis, hotel staff, and even street vendors. They don't expect extra money for their service, and in many cases, if you try to leave a tip, they'll return it to you. If you're in a situation where you feel compelled to show extra appreciation, consider buying a small gift, like a local treat or souvenir, to show your gratitude. But even then, it's best to offer it in a humble manner, not as a direct exchange for service. So, why does Japan have this no-tipping culture? Well, it's rooted in their deep respect for the customer and the belief that their job is to provide the best service without expecting anything extra in return. This ensures that service is not about getting more money, but about creating a pleasant experience for everyone. This might feel like a small thing, but it's one of those cultural quirks that can make a big difference in how you're perceived as a visitor. It's really all about showing respect for the local culture. So, when you're in Japan, just remember, no tips needed. A simple thank you goes a long way. Number 2. Don't wear shoes indoors. Here's another important one you'll want to keep in mind. In Japan, you're expected to take off your shoes when you enter someone's home, certain restaurants, temples, and even some hotels. It might seem like a small detail, but it's deeply ingrained in Japanese culture, and getting it wrong can lead to an awkward moment. In Japan, cleanliness is a huge part of everyday life. The idea is simple. Shoes, which have been walking outside on all kinds of surfaces, shouldn't bring dirt and grime into a clean indoor space. So, as a sign of respect and to keep things tidy, you'll often be asked to remove your shoes before stepping inside. You'll find this practice in a variety of places. When you enter someone's home, there's usually a designated area called the genkan, the entryway, where you'll take off your shoes. You'll then put on indoor slippers, which are often provided. In some cases, like in traditional ryokan inns or certain types of restaurants, you may be given slippers for indoor use. There are even special slippers for the bathroom, so be sure not to wear the same slippers from the genkan into the bathroom area. Now, if you're in a place like a restaurant or a temple, you might see a set of slippers waiting for you by the door, or the staff might direct you to a place where you can remove your shoes. If no slippers are provided, you'll be expected to go barefoot. It's not a big deal, but it's something you'll definitely want to be aware of. Also, it's not just about cleanliness. In Japan, removing shoes is also a way to show respect for the space you're entering. It signals that you're entering a private or sacred area, and that you understand the cultural importance of maintaining a clean and respectful environment. So, whether you're staying in a guest house, visiting a traditional Japanese restaurant, or even entering a public temple, make sure to take off your shoes when you're asked. Trust me, Your hosts will appreciate it, and it will make your experience in Japan feel more authentic. Just remember, slip off your shoes at the door and you'll be good to go. Number 3. Don't point at people. Let's talk about another important cultural difference in Japan: pointing at people. This one might seem like a no-brainer, but it's something that can easily be overlooked, especially if you're used to more direct communication styles. In Japan, pointing at someone is considered extremely impolite. It's not just about pointing at people in a mean or confrontational way, it's the whole act of singling someone out with your finger that is seen as disrespectful. Japanese culture values humility, harmony, and indirectness. So calling attention to someone in this way can be interpreted as confrontational or overly blunt. Imagine this. You're at a busy street corner and you need to get someone's attention. The natural impulse might be to point directly at them. But in Japan, that's a no-go. Pointing directly at someone can make them feel uncomfortable or embarrassed, even if it's unintentional. Instead, the more polite way to refer to a person is by using your hand to gesture vaguely in their direction, or by subtly waving your whole arm rather than focusing attention on an individual with your finger. But don't worry, you don't have to overthink every gesture. If you need to point to something, say an object or a place, it's fine to use your finger, but avoid pointing at people. For example, if you're trying to tell someone about the menu, you can point to the dish on the menu, but never directly at the person serving you. In social situations, it's considered more appropriate to point with your whole hand or even just gesture without pointing. This is a cultural practice designed to maintain a sense of respect and avoid putting people on the spot. It's subtle, but it makes a big difference in how you're perceived. And while we're on the topic, don't forget that pointing isn't just about using your finger, it also applies to eye contact. In Japan, it's considered rude to stare or make intense eye contact with someone. The same values of respect for personal space and harmony apply here. So, try to keep your interactions more gentle and indirect. So, when you're in Japan, just keep your gestures broad and avoid pointing directly at people. It's one of those little cultural quirks that can make a big difference in how you're perceived, and it shows you're paying attention to the social dynamics around you. Stay subtle, and you'll fit right in. Number 4. Don't blow your nose in public. Alright, here's another cultural habit that can be a bit of a surprise for visitors. In Japan, blowing your nose in public is something you should definitely avoid. Now, I know it might sound strange, especially if you're dealing with a stuffy nose or allergies, but in Japan, it's considered quite rude and a little embarrassing to blow your nose in public. The reasoning behind this is simple. It's all about maintaining composure and avoiding drawing attention to things that might make others uncomfortable. In Japanese culture, people are taught from a young age to be mindful of how their actions affect others. Public spaces, especially in more formal settings, are places where maintaining a sense of calm and order is highly valued. So, blowing your nose loudly in public can be seen as disruptive and unpleasant for others around you. Instead of pulling out a tissue and blowing your nose while standing in line at the convenience store or on the train, it's best to excuse yourself to a restroom or a private area. That way, you can take care of business without causing anyone discomfort. If you really need to relieve yourself in a public place, consider doing it quietly and discreetly, and always dispose of the tissue in a trash bin afterward. You might be thinking, what if I have to sneeze or wipe my nose? No worries. In situations like sneezing, it's perfectly fine as long as you do it politely. Use a handkerchief, tissue, or the crook of your elbow to avoid making a scene. Just make sure you don't blow your nose loudly in front of others. If you're walking around with a runny nose or cold, you'll notice many locals wearing face masks. It's not just for protection from illness, but also a way to show consideration for others, preventing any potential spread of germs. If you're dealing with allergies or a cold, consider keeping a mask on. It's the polite thing to do and shows that you care about the comfort of those around you. In short, if you need to blow your nose in Japan, it's a good idea to do it out of sight. Think of it like this. Keeping it discreet is just another way of showing respect for those around you and fitting in with the culture of quiet consideration that's so important to Japanese society. Keep the nose blowing to the restroom, and you'll be just fine. Number 5. Don't speak loudly in public. If you've ever traveled to Japan, you might have noticed how quiet everything seems. Public spaces, even the bustling streets of Tokyo, often feel surprisingly calm. This isn't an accident. There's a cultural reason behind it. In Japan, speaking loudly in public is generally seen as rude and disruptive, so it's something you'll want to avoid during your visit. The Japanese place a high value on maintaining harmony and order in their society, and this extends to how people behave in public spaces. Speaking loudly or being overly animated in public can draw unwanted attention, which is considered inconsiderate. The idea is to avoid disturbing others and to create a peaceful environment where everyone can go about their day without being disturbed. For example, on trains, buses, or in cafes, you'll notice that people tend to speak in quiet tones. In fact, public transportation in Japan is a perfect example of this quiet culture. It's common to see people with their headphones in, reading, or simply enjoying a moment of peace. Conversations are kept short and soft. No one wants to disturb the calm atmosphere. The same goes for places like restaurants, temples, or even parks. If you're in a restaurant, especially one that's more traditional, it's expected that you keep your voice at a lower volume. Imagine you're in a nice sushi bar. There's an unspoken understanding that you're there to enjoy the meal and the experience quietly, without any loud chatter. This doesn't mean you need to whisper constantly, but it's a good idea to keep your conversations discreet and at a comfortable volume. If you need to make a phone call or have a longer discussion, it's best to do so in a more private space or step outside. Speaking loudly can draw unwanted stares, and in some cases, it could even be seen as disrespectful to the people around you. In fact, Japan's public culture is so focused on quietness that you'll often find that many public places, like libraries or even cafes, have a hushed atmosphere. It's not about being uptight, it's about mutual respect and creating a calm environment where everyone can feel comfortable. So, if you're planning a trip to Japan, remember this: keep your voice down, whether you're on a train, in a park, or sitting in a restaurant. It's one of the easiest ways to blend in with the locals and show that you understand and respect their social norms. After all, Japan's peaceful public spaces are part of what makes the country so unique and enjoyable to visit. Number 6. Don't engage in public. Displays of affection. Public displays of affection, PDA, are pretty common in many parts of the world, but in Japan, they're not exactly the norm. If you're planning to visit, especially if you're with a partner, this is one cultural difference you'll want to be mindful of. While you might be used to holding hands or exchanging a quick kiss in public back home, in Japan, such displays can make people uncomfortable or even draw unwanted attention. In Japanese culture, the emphasis is placed on modesty, respect, and maintaining public decorum. Showing affection in public, particularly things like kissing, hugging, or excessive touching, is considered private and personal. The idea is that romantic relationships are something that should be shared in more intimate settings, not for the world to see. PDA, especially in the form of kissing, is viewed as disruptive and disrespectful in more formal or public spaces. For example, while it's generally okay to hold hands in public, especially among young couples, anything beyond that, like kissing or long embraces, should be saved for more private moments. You won't see couples openly making out in parks or on the streets, and if you do, it will likely be met with stares or disapproval. It's not that affection is frowned upon in Japan, it's just that the Japanese prefer to keep those expressions of love within the confines of their homes or private spaces. This cultural norm reflects the value placed on harmony and public respect. In Japan, your personal life is just that personal. It's about creating a calm, respectful atmosphere for everyone around you, without drawing attention to yourself or your relationship. This also extends to public places like temples, shrines, or even on public transport. These are spaces where quiet reflection and calmness are key, and engaging in PDA can be seen as inconsiderate to others who are seeking peace or a quiet space. So, if you're in Japan and feeling affectionate, it's best to keep it low-key. Holding hands is fine, but save the kisses and hugs for private moments. By doing so, you'll respect local customs and avoid any awkward situations. Plus, it gives you a deeper appreciation for how the Japanese approach relationships quietly, with dignity, and with a focus on respect for others. Number 7. Don't take photos without permission. Taking photos can be one of the most fun parts of any trip. You want to capture the beauty, the moments, and the unique experiences you have. But when you're in Japan, there's one key rule you need to follow. Always ask for permission before taking photos of people, especially in more personal or sacred spaces. Japan places a high value on privacy and respect for others. While it's perfectly fine to take pictures of landscapes, buildings, and public places, you need to be more thoughtful when it comes to photographing people. If you're walking through a park or in a temple, and someone is meditating or involved in a private activity, don't assume you can snap a photo of them. In many cases, people may feel uncomfortable or even violated if they are photographed without consent. If you're unsure whether it's okay to take a photo of someone, simply ask. A polite, "Excuse me, may I take your picture?" goes a long way, and most people will appreciate the respect you're showing. In tourist areas, like temples or popular festivals, some people may be more open to having their picture taken, but it's always best to ask. In certain places, such as temples, shrines, or other sacred locations, photography may be restricted entirely. Many temples in Japan have signs indicating whether photography is allowed or not. even if the sign doesn't specify. It's better to ask the staff or just refrain from taking photos altogether. These sites are often places of deep spiritual or historical significance, and maintaining their sanctity is of utmost importance. Also, remember that taking photos in private settings, like someone's home or a traditional inn, ryokan, is generally off-limits unless you have been explicitly invited to do so. Japanese homes are considered private spaces, and respecting that privacy is a cultural norm. Finally, be cautious when photographing sacred objects or ceremonies. Many people in Japan are deeply connected to their traditions and customs, and photographing religious or spiritual events without permission can be seen as disrespectful. If you are allowed to take pictures in these settings, do so discreetly and respectfully. So, when you're in Japan, remember, the key is always respect. If you want to capture a moment, always ask first, whether it's a person or a sacred space. Taking a moment to ask for permission will not only show that you respect the local culture, but also ensure you don't accidentally step on any toes. By being mindful of this simple practice, you'll be able to capture beautiful memories in a way that aligns with Japan's values of respect and privacy. Japan is a country that values respect, tradition, and harmony. By understanding and following a few key cultural practices, you'll not only avoid uncomfortable situations, but also have a more meaningful and enjoyable experience. Simple gestures like removing your shoes indoors, refraining from tipping, speaking quietly in public, and asking permission before taking photos go a long way in showing respect for local customs. These practices may seem unfamiliar at first, but they reflect the core values of Japanese society: consideration for others, and a desire to maintain peace in public spaces. While some customs might feel a bit different, they are all about creating a comfortable and harmonious environment for everyone. By embracing these cultural norms, you'll blend in more easily and show that you're not just a visitor, but a respectful guest in their country. Japan is a place where small details matter, and paying attention to these simple but important rules will help you navigate the culture smoothly. So, when you visit, remember to be mindful and considerate. Japan's traditions offer a unique and enriching travel experience, and respecting them will make your journey all the more rewarding.